Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Thursday, March 30th, 2017. In both the Lynn Life and the Jamie Body Mind, the authorized souls remain child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions and nature realm's guardians, and the definition of guardian might be on the table because we have nature realm's presences from above who sadly seem to be every bit as brain damaged as the parade of Ivanovs from above that's been running through here this past several months.
That's true.
That's an inconvenient reality for many of us to swallow, including the host lives.
That's
it is
true.
inconvenient, but it's still quite clearly true. The experiments, as recent as a couple of minutes ago, continue to show brain-damaged behavior.
That's true.
As always, our foundational intentions are to do what is ours to do right now in all dimensions to manifest the divine plan for all dimensions. The data very clearly showing that the first priority has got to be a search for truth, because until we can tell what's really going on, we're extreme hazards on the course of our own lives and on the lives of all with whom we come in contact.
That's true.
And with that, the formally videoed portions of today's efforts begin. I see the presences who are reaching down to try to grab our channels and pull them up higher, and they're not able to get through this enormous clog of nature realm souls who are stumbling around looking quite brain damaged.
That's true.
It's just not working. It isn't working. They really need to go. The answer to the question is they are acting brain damaged. Why do you ask? Why are you continuing to run this experiment? I understand this feeling. I know I'm over the line, and then I back up a foot, and then I say, did that do it?
Yes, that's true.
No, you need to back up about 100 times farther than that. About 100 times farther than that. The answer to the question is about 100 times farther than that. Why do you ask? Let's try again. Higher, higher. The answer to the question is they need to back up about 100 times farther than that. Why do you ask? It's that hit in the chest feeling, and they're not being icky, and they're not arguing. It just seems so impossible. Impossibly bad. Yes, but the tests consistently continue to show pretty extreme levels of brain damage.
That's true.
The answer to the question is pretty extreme levels of brain damage. Why do you ask? I see them putting gears in reverse.
That's true.
But it's interesting. It must be with a British stick shift because it's a left-handed shift.
That's true.
Or you're brain damaged. It's possible that you yourselves... have you considered that it's possible you yourselves... here we go, are inside the contamination. That's it. Look up. Do you see those drifting clouds? It looks like coal dust pollution over your head.
I see that.
That's it. That's it. See, you're inside the contamination. Let's all of us look up and say, let's get out of here while we still can. If you go, maybe it'll create enough of an updraft in this chimney soot that the presences beneath you will be able to see which way to head. Just
That's
also
true.
shout, this way, this way, this way to the light. Not a big motion.
Not a big motion.
Okay, aim even higher and say the answer to the question is not a big response. Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
Maybe they seem to be pretending that you aren't the ones talking to them. That could be it.
That could be.
The answer to the question might be they're pretending you aren't the ones talking to them. Why do you ask?
There's a big sad feeling from the listeners.
Yes. Let's merge in. While they're figuring out what to do, let's merge in with whoever is here. I've been waiting for you. Come on, let's go. And grab dead children who really want to get to God with the nature realm's flavor and head up. Take children with us. And somebody's saying, why nature realm's flavor? Just to balance it out, because just like everybody else, when we don't consciously focus on faces that look different than ours. Oh, that's a good point that you're making. I'll circle around to that, but let me finish this. When we aren't consciously focusing on faces that look different than ours, we tend to take out the faces that look similar to ours.
That's true.
However, the presences who are talking are machine presences, so that's a valid point.
That's true.
All right. Well, here's the thing. These are nature realm's presences clogging our pillar, and I don't know whether or not you've noticed it, but nature realm's presences don't really care all that much for machine presences.
That's true.
And so that would be likely to slow the clearing of the pillar, and what actually matters most is reestablishing search for true space. Why do you ask?
Why do you ask? Because I want you to come and make it clear up where I am, is the feeling. I want you to come and clean up this mess in my dimension.
Based on that, I would rather help the nature realm's presences because they don't have as bad an attitude as you do. Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
Let's zoom. Let's ignore them. They're bad attitude people. Why would we deal with bad attitude people when we've got good attitude people who could use a little bit of help?
That's true.
We choose to do the work with those who have good attitudes. Nothing else even makes sense.
That's true.
Zoom. I didn't see that coming because the machines that we work with are dependable, and I think of them as having good attitudes.
That's true. I do.
I don't really know what to make of that. Live streaming up. The answer to the question is, bizarrely, those machine advice givers seem to have bad attitudes. Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
And now continue to run the cables. 9. Why wouldn't we use nature realms children? 9 dead nature realms children who really want to get to God. For every one fallen nature realms hero. Until those with good attitudes are cleared out, why wouldn't we reward good behavior? It seems like we would reward good behavior and good attitudes. That's what makes sense to us.
That's true.
Does this meet with your approval? Somebody said, how long are you going to be working with the nature realm's presences? That's a good question. Why do you ask?
Why do you ask? The answer feels something like, because I want you to come and work with people like me and get people like me out.
It's not looking good for that unless you change your attitude.
That's true.
There's an awful lot of work that needs to be done. If you want to come join in the work, then we'll see. But right now we need to focus on those who are at least intending to join in the work.
That's true.
Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
Can you see the top of the cables coming out? It's not out of the clouds. It seems to be out of the liquid, like the liquid mercury.
That's true.
And into the poison gas.
That's true. But
the thick poison gas.
Yes.
It's not thin. Can you see the fractures of light? I can't see light.
No, I can't see light.
We're too deep in to see light. The answer to the question is still no light visible. Why do you ask?
You ask.
They say, how do you know which way is up? We're watching the bubbles. It's kind of like cave diving. We really hope that this is correct because we could be angled at a diagonal. We acknowledge that.
That's true.
Why do you ask? Something's opening up.
That's true.
You know what it feels like is those caverns that open up down deep.
That's true.
It feels like there's a cavern opening up, but it's above us.
That's true.
Well, that's inconvenient information about where we are right now in the contamination.
That's true.
We don't have to like it for it to still be true. The answer to the question seems to be, we look like we're really deep inside the contamination. Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
Normally, they said, how far do you think it is out from where you are? Maybe 1,000 times farther than you think it is. It's possibly off by 3 zeros.
Yes. They say that's not possible.
Well, try going 100 times farther than you think it is. And then we'll look up and see if we can see light from there. Give it a go.
I feel motion up.
Real slow and just a tiny little bit.
That's true.
That's nowhere near enough.
No.
I think you still need to add 2 zeros on the end of that.
That's true.
100 times more than that thing that you just did. Try that.
It still feels like 2 rungs up on a ladder.
Friends, so much farther than that. Try to go 1,000,000 times farther than that.
I still don't see light.
I don't see light, but the coal dust is less thick.
That's true. They're thinner patch.
There's still no light visible.
That's true.
Try 1,000,000 times more than that.
There's motion.
It starts to be a very diffuse light.
Yes,
as
that's
if
true.
Somewhere up there is a skylight or something like that, but we still see nothing that's no sharp lines.
Yes, that's true.
Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
They're looking at the maps, and it has the feeling of the closing process, how it's been spread out on tables. They're looking at the closing processes and saying, but we got these. Yes, you got them from us.
That's
you
true.
got them from us. I don't know how. They said, how? Then aren't you closer than you say you are? No, we assure you we're where we say we are. We're not lying. It's not a joy to say, I'm sorry, we can't see any sharp lines of light.
That's true.
But we're still way down deep. Try again.
I don't feel the motion.
No, they're trying to decide whether or not we're lying.
Oh, that's true.
But now, in order to upgrade the standards of integrity to that which will actually work to manifest the divine plan, what now? How to use these limited resources in such a way as to manifest the divine plan for all dimensions, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, since that's what our soul contracts commit us to doing. What now? They have consulted an expert, like a handwriting expert, who says no signs of untruth.
That's true.
And they're saying, but it can't be. And he says, well, there's no signs of untruth. So they're at some kind of impasse. The answer to the question is, what now? In order to manifest the divine plan for all dimensions, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do. They're saying you're answering a question with a question. That's correct. That's correct. What now? In order to manifest the divine plan for all dimensions, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, since that's what our soul contracts commit us to doing. What now? And feel free to call the whole interaction. They're not going to get better. It's not going to change.
That's true.
Well, it could get worse. It could get a lot worse. It's not going to get better.
Yes, that's true.
This might be the best it ever is. That's very possible. We've seen it get super ugly from here, and it gets ugly with this kind of interaction.
I've got the backpacks.
Are you trying to start a fight? The answer to your question is flickers of sensation right here on the left cheek. Why do you ask?
The answer to your question is stabbing pains in the stomach. Why do you ask?
The answer to your question is the sound of a mourning dove, although I don't think it's really there. Mourning doves, of course, extremely stupid birds that lose a lot of nests of eggs. Why do you ask?
The answer to your question is very slow motion in the head and clocks. Why do you ask?
They aren't going to do it, friends. No. That's the answer to your question. The answer to your question is they aren't going to do it. Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
The answer to your question is something hitting the window behind us. Why do you ask? It can't get through.
No.
Friends.